he plays for the team, he is outstanding. I think he's the best in the competition.
Looks like there might have been a talented barber at work on that Fremantle Dockers little leaguer there. We get the second half underway. What have Fremantle got? Can they stand up and make a contest of it? Swan out of the middle. They trail by 25 points as we start the third term. That's beautifully done. The ball is knocked over towards Elliott. Flying shot on goal. He's missed it. Gets the scoring started with a behind for Collingwood.
Quick ball in. De Boer just gets front spot late but couldn't complete the transaction, and Beams picks up and sends the ball back inside 50. Tyson Goldsack, who we heard from at half-time, has an opportunity to kick his second.
Collingwood's ball movement is this. When they put their hands on it, it's to a target that moves forward or gets the ball forward. And we've seen that now even since this third quarter. And this is why Tyson Goldsack's got the ball.
7 goals in 5 years, 14 in this season alone. He puts it to the top of the square. Cloak, second grab, went to ground. Desperate defenders here from Fremantle. Crowley gets wrapped up by Swan. He can't break the tackle. He makes a very feeble attempt. Umpire said too feeble. It was just sort of a little tap on top of the ball.
Over here. Make an attempt, mate. Just make an attempt. Make an attempt.
What do you reckon I'm doing?
Have a look at this. Not enough, mate. Not enough.
What's it, Lewis?
Hey, Dane. Look at that, thanks. Back with me.
Well, that was all pretty self-explanatory.
And that's Hayden. Sharon, come out, please.
Not a genuine attempt.
So Dane Swan, punt road end. Offline, inaccurate. Well, that was uncharacteristic from Dane Swan. Couple of points to start the third term for the Pies.
You happy with that call, Tom?
Yeah, I am. Yep. I think the umpire explained it really well. Crowley tried to barge through the tackle without genuinely trying to fist it out. I'm sure if the attempt was there, the ball would have spilled.
And I guess that's the point. The banging on top of the football is not a genuine attempt. That's not how you handball if you've got the opportunity in open play. Barlow across to De Boer. Pavlich had to wait under it. It bounced high. Now Reed's done nicely. Tuvey involved as well. Brown, in fact. They've got the numbers again. Collingwood slapped it over back to Reed. And the ball near the interchange gates. Jolly. Bit of slow motion football here. Griffin gathers to Mzungu. He came back into trouble. Wellingham got him for solo. Knocked off the footy as he kicks towards half forward. And easy as you like. Dawes marks on his chest about 55 from home. He sends it in the Cloak direction. That was the perfect kick. But Cloak didn't mark. Swan now to Goldsack. They've kept it alive. Good tackle. Well done. Crowley redeemed himself nicely on Elliott. Still some work to do for Ibbotson. Now Robertson. He didn't dispose of that cleanly. Lucky not to be pinged for holding the ball. Goldsack goes in again. And the ball will be bounced.
Just see the tackle here. Jamie Elliott came back on his right foot. Ryan Crowley knowing exactly what was happening there. Good defensive pressure. Cloakey really needs to swallow those ones up.
The ball bounced, still a chance now. Wellingham. Handball out for side bottom. They've got all the numbers and all the time in the world, Collingwood. And that one's cleared the line. Just a bit too much on the kick. It's the Magpies by 28 points.
Well, I'll just say again, Fremantle had 15 of their players inside the back 50. So you've got nothing to kick the ball out to. You really are not positioning the players in the right spot. So I don't know what happened at half-time, whether they spoke about that or not.
What would have been the message at half-time, Mick, if you were coaching the Dockers?
Oh, well, it's horses for courses, and I'm not Ross Lyon, but one thing I will say is I make sure that you've got something to kick to. You can't allow sides to dictate in their front 50.
Ibbotson, Johnson, Ibbotson, Main into the middle of the ground, ends up with Cloak a long way from home. It's a long ball, 2 Dockers, and just Jamie Elliott. Spilt ball from McFarlane. He keeps hold of it. He needs to get rid of it. Elliott, very tenacious, did well. Robertson, though, picked up the loose ball, streams through half-back, gives it to Johnson, puts it over the top. You'll find Crowley. Now nothing obvious. You've got Pavlich only as an option. And I say only, not trying to degrade Matty Pavlich, but that was his only option. He went in that direction. Marley Williams picked it up, gave it off. And now this is where the Pies are normally pretty good. To Swan, to side bottom. Ordinary kick cut off by Griffin for the Dockers.
Tom, they'd have to be talking about midfield accountability. I know he talked about you can't tag Dane Swan, but he's already up to 24 possessions. It's too much. Even if you're not a tagger, you still have to be accountable to your opponent.
Kirky, it looks at the moment that Freo are adopting halfway between a man-on-man and the zone. Is that the way it looks from ground level?
Yeah, generally Ross Lyon plays a zoning press, so they are trying to go a bit more of a press. But still, Dane Swan's had 24 touches. There's too many.
Well, 24 and we've just started the third term. Not far off world record pace. Cloak the target. Through hands again. Out the back. Wellingham. Couldn't quite. Maybe the second time. Picks it up. Ferocious tackle again. That time Subban. Griffin tries to handball back inside. They're going to try and roll Cloak over the line, and they do.
If I could just come in there and just say that when McFarlane picked that ball up and had McPhee wide by himself by 20 metres, and he kicks it over his head. So that's the disposal that you've got to find, and that ball then goes in front half of Fremantle.
Johnson's kick in finds Griffin. Credit to the Fremantle defence there. A couple of very strong tackles. They were determined not to let Wellingham get away and run into that open goal. So well done there. A bit of a win, and the ball over the line with Maxwell. And Lockie Neal, it looks like, has sat down. And Jaden Pitt, who started as the sub for Fremantle, now in play. Mzungu, quick kick towards half forward. It bounced away from Broughton into Main's hands. Here's Ballantyne, throws it on the boot. Pavlich leading marks just outside 50. Wants to send it long. Now Broughton and Pitt, well, how about this? They both got clear and they couldn't work it out to mark it, but they've got time to recover, and Broughton from 12 metres goes in and kicks Fremantle's third goal. Collingwood 5 inside 50s in this term for 1 behind, and contrast that for 4 behinds rather, and contrast that with Fremantle, who've taken it inside 50 on that one occasion just then and have kicked a goal. But it's back to 23 points.
Well, this is almost a disaster for Fremantle. Matthew Pavlich driving the ball in. Jaden Pitt coming in for just his second game. Came onto the ground, a little unsure when to go. Broughton finishing up there.
So goals have been hard to come by for the Pies. They're at one stage 5 goals 4. They've added 1 goal 7. And the Dockers have got the last 3. 23 points the margin. You feel like the margin should be much more significant. Might just get added to in a moment. Fasolo looks inside 50. Couple of tall men. Jolly, Cloak, Payne to Griffin. Got hands to it. Spilt. Beams crashes through. Amazing give to Goldsack, and he finishes. Beams, I don't know how he saw him, but he found him. Goldsack goals. Well, it happens quickly, and Dane Beams just gave it to the running Goldsack. We've spoken glowingly about Dane Beams' season, and that was quick and magician-like. Wonderful finish, quick passage of play, and the Fremantle goal is answered. Back to 29 points.
Yeah, good contest for a start off, and Beams would have been its reaction here. Just get the ball into a forward position, and Goldsack also read the ball very, very well off the hands. 6th time this season that he's been a multiple goal scorer for the Magpies, and he's the only multiple goal scorer in the game. Here's Blair. Put the foot down now, a little Collingwood, you sense. Swan with possession, number 25. No mark credited to Payne. He handballs to Buckley from right on the 50. Wellingham doing the shepherding, and Collingwood have got back-to-back goals. So after taking almost a quarter of play to add their next goal after they kicked 6 consecutively, there's 2 in a row now for Collingwood. And Buckley will enjoy that. Well, both of them out on the ground and up in the coach's box.
Kirky, just looking at some of the numbers, Swan with 25, side bottom 21, Beams 19, Blair 17, Wellingham 17. What do you do with Crowley? They're not really getting a result out of that at the moment, Freo.
Well, Crowley's actually staying in the middle, so when Beams went forward, he stayed in and went to Swan, so he's obviously mixing it to the most influential in there. But at the moment, they're just not getting their hands on the footy.
They're on the march again, the Pies. Daisy Thomas. I'm not sure what was happening then. It looked like a stub toe, perhaps. Certainly wasn't going Goldsack's direction deliberately. That's the way it went. McPhee cut it off. Barlow goes searching. Ugly sort of a ball. It'll end up in Pies' hands. The skipper couldn't quite take it cleanly. Pressure was okay. Pitt, the sub, who's on, just drags hold of the legs, does Mundy. Ends up in Pies' hands this time. Over the top to Swan. Being hard ridden by Subin. Now for Solo. Quick give on the left to Blair. Wrapped up by Main. They might get away with the Dockers. In come more Pies. It'll be a Fremantle free kick too high.
Are you gone?
Lower, McPhee. Now Crowley. Only a handful of Dockers forward of the ball. O'Brien uses the left hand to palm it down. Does well. Then grabs it. Ballantyne grabs him. He's caught. Ballantyne tenacious.
Advantage.
And away they go, the Dockers. Mundy waits on 50. He's got a one-on-one. Broughton and Tuvey. Now the Pies flood back quickly. The give inside 50. No one really at home. Lost ball. Tuvey off the ground. Marley Williams couldn't take it. Main, Broughton, they'll try and hold it up, and they will.
Further to your question, Tom, I'd even maybe look to put Ballantyne into the middle. At the moment, they look around the edges, look a little bit slow. They need some speed. Collingwood are spreading so hard they just can't keep with them.
Griffin, the slap, pretty good in the end. Ballantyne received, back to Griffin, tackled strongly. Little flick from Dawes was good. Over the top they go. The Pies have got numbers. Blair, Beams, and to the outer side. Long ball, two Dockers and just the lone pie in the form of Travis Cloak. But for Solo, clever at the fall of the ball. Into the run of Jackson Payne. He's got side bottom McPhee long, ignores them, goes inside. Swan couldn't take it. Ibbotson lost the ball. Swan continues on. Subin on his knees. Wide ball to Robertson. And the Dockers will work it to the outer side. There's three of them and they can go.
13 possessions this afternoon for Dylan Robertson, back in the team after an extended spell in the Waffle. He's been pretty good. Barlow, Mundy, now Crowley through the middle of the ground. Long kick, it didn't favour the smallest man on the ground. And Harry O'Brien taking an easy mark at the back of Hayden Ballantyne. It should have been for Pavlich, I guess, and wasn't well directed.
Yeah, it didn't favour Ballantyne, but Ballantyne read it really poorly also.
Thomas has kicked forward and side bottom marks on the wing. It's Collingwood by 35 points after a couple of brighter moments from Fremantle, it's got to be said. Collingwood have gone into lockdown mode, and Shaw now to Jolly. That ball was touched. Crowley to McPhee. Now Silvani got the football across. They worked it through a few sets of hands, and eventually the kick comes forward. Barlow was in there and lowers kick. Now Pearce to Broughton. Handball forward for Ballantyne. Can keep it low. Pavlich is there on his own. He gathers the football from the goal square, kicks a goal, and Fremantle have got their fourth. So the skipper delivering this time. An opportunity earlier in the game to do a lot better. 1 goal, 2 for Matthew Pavlich. But with that, it's Collingwood lead cut back to 29 points. The inside 50s in this term. 10 Collingwood, 4 Fremantle.
2 Collingwood players going for it. You don't mind seeing that, both eyes on the ball, but it enabled Pavlich to get out the back. I agree with Brett Kirk. Hayden Ballantyne could be a real option for Freo in the middle, just to get some spread from the contest, inject a bit of liveliness into the game.
Quick hack forward this time from Crowley, but Tuvey is there for the Pies. He finds a running Blair. Terrific kick. Who's forward of the ball? Goldsack with Robertson. And then Cloak further afield. Johnson, he's in front, McFarlane behind. Coming crashing through Jamie Elliott. Couldn't quite take it. Subin did well. Rode the tackle and rolls himself over the boundary line.
McFarlane's doing a good job on Cloak today. And just one, it's a flurry of activity down here on the bench. There's been 112 rotations already for Collingwood. They might set a record today.
Thanks, Kirky. Dawes just sets himself, this time against Griffin. Out the back doing the roving work is Jolly. Quick kick at goals. Swan couldn't get there. He had McPhee riding him hard. And it bounces. So it stays in dangerous territory for the Dockers. 8-11 plays 4-6. Collingwood by 29 points. A better last 30 minutes or so for the Dockers. They've kicked all their 4 goals after being goalless in the first term. Daisy Thomas ragdolled. Umpire will do it all again.
Thanks, Daisy. Easy, guys, easy.
Look for Darren Jolly to hit the ball lateral here, either forward out in front or over his head.
Brett Kirk's been on the end of a few Darren Jolly hit outs. He did get his hands onto the football first. Didn't quite go where he wanted to go. Now that's Subin on the bottom of that pack, tackled by Elliott.
Straight in, guys. Thanks, Nick.
As the umpire explained, umpire Andrew Mitchell locked in. Nothing beyond halfway for Fremantle. Well, actually, Zach Clark and Reid are beyond halfway, but they've just trotted over, so now nothing beyond halfway. There's a free kick for Dane Swan against Dane Swan.
I don't think they'd mind that, because that ball was clearly meant for Swan, and they did very well. The only thing he didn't do was able to break out of it.
Crowley to Mzungu to Robertson, and now McPhee at full stretch. So we saw just a few moments ago there was not much on to Bohr, and at some point they just wait for players to flood back. They've done pretty well to get some numbers back. That kick not good though, over Clark's head. He's a very tall man, over 200 centimetres, and it went over his head. Mopping up, it comes to Swan. He got it from Beams, and now it's with Wellingham. It was Heath Shaw that started it all. Here's Beams now outside 50, and the kick not good. Griffin, the ruckman, dropping back and marks at the top of the square.
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to be playing forward of centre for Fremantle, because their disposal for a start-off is not consistent, and when it does come, you don't know where it's going to end up.
Griffin, Mzungu, quickly they work it to Mundy, the 2-16s, and Mundy does best. He's going to run to about 50, nothing really long. He might set sail for home. Mundy bounces once and bounces through. So the third for the Dockers in this third term after 2 late goals in the second term. They get their 5th. It's 23 points. Mundy, who's been so good for a long time for the Dockers, the Seymour boy. A lot of talk that he's coming back to Victoria. Dockers fans will be pleased he stayed in Western Australia. Pies by 23.
And this seems to be very common with Fremantle at the moment. They're finding a player out the back and a lot of space towards there in the goal square, and that's a good finish. But that's not the only way you should be able to score goals, but it's been effective for him so far.
So 2 in a row for Fremantle, and after quarter time it's 5 goals apiece. Fremantle mounting something. Beams though with a long kick. McFarlane got high, waiting down and roving well was Subin, who gives the ball to Silvani. Now what have they got coming out of defence this time? Broughton, it was a tough ball to control. He did it brilliantly. Got away from side bottom as well. Pearce, ankle appears to be okay. Handball to De Boer. Clark took it well on the half volley. Needs a bounce here. This will be the best result for Fremantle, and he gets it from the umpire.
Would Fremantle have looked dangerous going forward like they did with the last goal from Monday? They actually hit possession from half back on those 2 occasions just then, just at the feet. If they can just tidy up their disposal efficiency, will give them a much greater avenue to go.
Swan with possession number 28, not what Fremantle wanted, although it fell to Johnson, who then goes backwards and gives the ball to Silvani. Dangerous kick. Well done by Jackson Payne. He got a fist in there. He's kept it alive to Tuvey. And now the counter-attack is on. Here's Thomas. Another error by Fremantle, breaking down a promising attack from halfback. Here's Tuvey. Inside 50. Tackled as he kicks. He sends it low and flat. Goldsack was the target. Didn't get there. Robertson did well. Used a player and then to Pavlich. And now to Barlow, who can run it out of defence.
Inside to Mundy. He's got a runner. Pitt will just put it over the top. This time to Griffin. Nothing inside 50.
Terrific shepherd off the ball here by Fremantle across half-back. It's Goldsack who's been really caught off guard.
Well, Griffin just set sail for home, and it was a bit of a pointless kick. He had to kick at 65 to clear Darren Jolly, and that was never going to happen. And Jolly just sets the Pies up now.
I think there's been an accidental clash of heads as well. I think Lower's come off with blood coming from the side of his head.
Thanks, Kirky. Keep us updated as Thomas goes back to where the ball came from, and that is Darren Jolly.
Fremantle have added Ballantyne to the midfield to give him a little bit of that speed we were talking about.
Jolly back to Shaw. So after a dynamite start for the Pies, the goals have slowed up. And the Dockers have kicked 5 after being goalless in the first turn. And they'll go inside 50 again. This time Crowley the target. Through hands it went. Buckley just holds him up. Daisy Thomas there. De Boer gives a bit of support as Ibbotson and Beams watch on, and there's a problem as Tyson Goldsack heads down the race.
Yeah, nothing untoward. That a terrific shepherd there by Lower, but Goldsack unfortunately coming off worse for wear.
Blair, quick little kick. It's going to come back over his head, and Pavlich strong. Stood his ground, and Reid, he had him covered but just couldn't quite get a fist on the ball, and Pavlich really strong now.
Well, Pavlich, that's his bread and butter. That use the body, protect the ball. The vulnerability of Ben Reid would probably be out of the goal square on a big body where he can't get a jump at him. And he trailed him in, and, well, that's the experience of a player. Now, he missed this one, don't forget, down the other end of the ground. So this is no way down Misère with... it should be for a talented player like Pavlich, but who knows.
If he kicks this, the Dockers have kicked 6 of the last 8. And he has. Pav from directly in front brings the margin back to 17 points at the G. From all one-way traffic, it is suddenly at an interesting stage, this game. 8:11:59, Fremantle 6:42. The Dockers have been ugly going forward, but they've managed to scrap and scrape 6 goals. Pavlich, the skipper, he kicks his second. We've got a game.
Here's the mark here for Matthew Pavlich, the skipper, one-on-one against Ben Reid. Just starting to get more efficient going forward at the moment. Fremantle isolating one-on-one contests as opposed to bombing into outnumbers.
Swan out of the middle. The biggest margin was 40 points. It's been cut to 17. Now Dawes kept his footing when others didn't. Throws it on the boot and kicks a much-needed goal for the Magpies. It was 3 in a row for Freo. They get one back.
Bit of a steadier, wasn't it?
9-11 to 6-6, and Dawes, well, others around him were tumbling, and the big man kept his footing, and a bit of fortune, and footy into his hands, and he kicks his first goal of the afternoon, his 5th for the season.
Fantastic play by Dane Swan. That was just one, just put it into the danger zone, and when 2 players go up and they both go to ground, Dawes stood up and kicked the goal very easily.
So he's been quiet, Dawes, this year. 5 goals only, as Baz alluded to. 4 goals in round 1 last year. Other targets so far this year have been pretty effective. The Pies have done well without him. Little slap from Jolly, ends up with Mzungu. Couldn't quite take it cleanly. Beams underneath it all, gives it to Wellingham, high up and under. Bit of a slap forward to Swan. He needs to give it off quickly and does well. This time it's given off and got over to Wellingham, and now to Blair. Can he finish? This time he's offline.
Great hands in tight there. I think it was by Fasola. Terrific technique, just lifting the arms outside so he could put off the hand pass and get out to the spread from Blair.
Matthew Pavlich's previous goal, incidentally, makes it 514 for his career, and that's now level with Peter Sumich, the most goals kicked by a Western Australian-based player, and the Pavs got plenty of footy left in him, so that's another record that he will be able to take away from his distinguished football career. And there is Pavlich again. Broughton, O'Brien, can they get it to Pavlich? That's what Broughton was trying to do. He was turned to the wrong side of the contest, and as a result it came out Maxwell's way. Reid, and involved was side bottom. And again, Blair, wrong footing Crowley, just takes off immediately. Well done, Johnson. Swan, though, waiting down. Can the Brownlow medalist? They'd love this. They'd love a goal. Dane Swan waltzes in and kicks one. Possessions and 2 goals too for Dane Swan. Super Swanee, all right. About as good as there is in the competition at accumulating possessions of the football, and he makes them count as well. The goal there, and suddenly Collingwood's lead. It was 17 points, back to 30 points.
Dane Swan is great to watch. He's such a gut runner. He works so hard out of the stoppages. He's had De Boer, Zungu, Barlow's gone to him. None of them can stop him.
Well, for a man that was said to be overweight, he continues to feast on the footy, averaging 34 possessions so far this season. It was round 14. He kicked into top Brownlow gear last year. 21 votes of a possible 30 between rounds 14 and 23. He is a wonderful footballer. 30 points the margin after the Dockers. Got it back to 17 after the Pavlich goal. Quick goals to Dawes and Swan, and they go forward again. Daisy Thomas, it'll bounce in front of him. McPhee hot on his heels. Daisy bouncing almost across the face. Well done, McFarlane. 200 last week, plays 201 and quickly clears for the Dockers. De Boer, Marley Williams, 2 pies, and just De Boer, Marley Williams just paddles it forward. De Boer goes again, good second effort, just pushed off the ball, heap of pies. Wellingham ignored side bottom, quick high up and under. Who's around the place? Payne, Dawes, Subin reads it well, tackled by Blair and taken to ground. Hard to get an easy touch inside the forward 50 as a Docker defender today.
Yeah, the press from Collingwood's been outstanding. Up to 77 tackles now for the game. Freo also with 72, so it's been a really tight contest.
Jolly trying to slap it out down towards Blair. Crowley gathers the football. He sends it long again. No one home beyond halfway, and Reid just tracking the footy back over the shoulder and safely into his arms. He goes with a wide one for sure. Needs to wait for it to bounce. Now, he's got a player breaking for him. Out wide is Buckley. He's got Pitt with him, who started as the sub. He turned Pitt inside out, goes boundary side, and then sends it long down in the Thomas direction. Oh, what a grab at full stretch. Running at top pace. They're difficult to handle, and he made it look easy.
He's got fantastic hand style, Thomas. Never takes his eyes off the football for a start off. Could almost read the print on the ball. He watches it so far off the boot. And his touch has always been terrific. It's one of those, when he first come to the football club, it's an innate ability. You don't develop that. It's something that you can add to, but it's always with you. So, fantastic mark on the run.
He's kicked a goal this afternoon to make it 10 goals 3 in 2012. And this for Collingwood to make it 3 in a row. Kick is on its way, and it's just offline or behind.
And Mickey, used to be part of your pre-match routine, just building the talks at Daisy in the room.
Yeah, he probably should have no talk then. But, yeah, so well, I know his touch, and he would be one of the finest in the competition. I know it might sound strange, but he has got that ability to take the difficult ball.
So they work it now, the Dockers. They've got a few numbers around the ball. De Boer receives and gives to the skipper in Pavlich. He's got 2 one-on-ones over the top, hoping for it in the end. Was Crowley couldn't get there in time, and O'Brien does well, just goes back with a flight, and that back 6 of the Pies combines so well. Ends up with Reid to the skipper, quickly onto Fasolo. He just dishes it off over the top to Blair. He's got a heap of options for Solo. Continued to run, and the delivery to Thomas, A1. And again, Thomas's hands on display. This time, he'll kick after the siren.
It's not something we see a lot of, Dale Thomas coming out of the square, but coupled with Mick's comments about how strong his hands are and his explosive power, we know he is good overhead. This is something that I'd like to see explored a bit more often with Collingwood. It's a real X factor.
So Thomas, wearing the number 13, reliably told that number gets sold out more than any other at the Collingwood shop, to extend the Collingwood lead from 31 Terrific view behind Daisy Thomas. The lights are on in the Great Southern Stand. He ambles in, skips, crosses the arc, and it's fair to say he disappoints himself as well as all the Collingwood fans. So the margin remains at three-quarter time, a 31-point lead to the Pies. 10-13, 73. Fremantle 6-6, 42. That's all on Saturday Arvo Football.